It's the DORK podcast. It's the DORK podcast. Rich Keefe. It's the DORK podcast. Hashtag. It's the hashtag DORK podcast.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Hashtag Dork. My name is Rich Keefe, joined as always by Davey Eyeballs. He is Robot Von Dobot. He is promo code Ron Von D. All hail the King of Ginger Ale. It's Ryan. Davey, how are you?
Having a little bit of a case of the Mondays, Rich.
Oh, but do you love lasagna?
I do. I do love lasagna.
All right, so it's not all bad.
So, it's not all bad.
I was going to ask you if you were having a good Tres de Mayo.
It's like any other day. It's like Groundhog Day these days, you know?
I got my margarita going.
You get a margarita there? Look at you.
I said, why not? I'll treat myself, you know?
Yeah.
It's de Mayo week, which just is a great time to be had by all.
And Star Wars Day tomorrow.
Star Wars Day fucking tomorrow. You doing anything special?
Just making a lot of jokes.
Yeah.
Just making a lot of jokes about May the 4th, you know.
May the 4th be with you as well, Ryan.
I don't have anything big planned. I celebrate privately though, so
that's good. Yeah, just because you never know who's into it, who isn't. You don't want to offend anybody out there. It's an excuse to wear my droid costume. You know, my C-3PO outfit
in the bedroom.
Yeah, you know how it is.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, speaking of my wife, when I tried having her watch Star Wars years ago, we were watching the first one, episode 4, Ryan. But
yeah, New Hope. I know what you mean by the first one. Yep.
I thought she'd never seen any of them, which I thought was ludicrous. So I'm like, let's watch it. I may have told the story before, but I'll tell it again. Really, it's a quick anecdote. And we're watching it, and you know how it's a lot of R2-D2 and C-3PO on Tatooine. And
I remember the story now. Yes,
and there's a lot of dialogue between the two characters.
Yes,
and I believe her quote was something in the range of, "Is it just robots in the sand?" I'm like, "Well, they're droids, and we can shut it off now."
We can shut it off now. Similarly, before my wife and I met, she was not aware that the Lord of the Rings was a trilogy, and was very disappointed at the end of Fellowship of the Ring, where she described this a same thing. So it's just walking for 2 hours.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah.
It was a bit of a journey. It was an
unexpected journey, as it were. But
had to do it.
The fact of the matter is, she did not know or was not told that it was part of a trilogy of movies and just thought it was just one. And then that movie just ends.
It's several movies. Movies. And then it's over. But it's 12 hours of your life that you're not going to get back.
Yeah.
All right, we have pardon my French, fuck ton to get to. So
oh my God, let's do it.
This week in DORK.
It looks like we scared some people in the chat. Did we not start when it's supposed to start? Did we jump in halfway through? Please explain. Please elaborate.
Someone said scared the shit out of me.
Yeah. Some guy said we just started with lasagna jokes. I don't know what the fuck's happening. Maybe we screwed up the audio.
I don't think we did because
I don't know. I thought I hit the button when it said play live, but you guys can fill us in on that. Ryan, crazy Marvel news today.
Oh my God. Well, yeah.
We tweeted this bad boy out at Dork Podcast, and Marvel had about a 3-minute video. I'm sure you guys have all seen it by now. If not, go back and check it out. And they're just talking about, how strong people are and, getting to the movies and stuff like that. And they're showing all these old clips from old Marvel movies. And then they just started ramping it up. And they have like a few new scenes from some of the upcoming movies. And next thing you know, they just start rapid fire with all of the upcoming movies in the MCU, Phase 4. This is what we're looking at. Some of these we already knew. Some of these we added a little detail to. So we have Black Widow in July. Then Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings in September. Eternals, November. Spider-Man No Way Home, December. Jump to 2022. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness in March. Thor, Love and Thunder in May. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever in July of 2022. That's a new title. We didn't know that. The Marvels, November 11th, 2022. That is the Captain Marvel 2. So that's a name we didn't know. Then Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantum Mania, February of 2023. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, May 5th, 2023. So we're almost exactly 2 years away from Guardians 3. And then Fantastic Four doesn't have a date. But what, Ryan, out of all of that, what was your big takeaway?
The big takeaway that we're in good hands, that the plan is there. Now, we know that all of these stories are somehow going to intertwine with one another, leading to something bigger. Now that the Fantastic Four has been announced, do they start showing up other places? Is my big question.
I feel like they've done that before, and it might just be end credits. It might just be teasing. I don't think you're gonna have like Reed Richards in a movie first, but you did with Spider-Man. Spider-Man and Black Panther actually both, now that I say this, popped up in Civil War, then got their own movies. But when they first started building the universe back in like the phase one, it was more like Nick Fury kind of like boom, 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 pop
or like mentioning people or whatever. The one thing that I did not see that I was surprised, no Blade.
Well, oh yeah. Yeah, they didn't throw Blade in there.
No Blade.
Yeah, we know Mahershala Ali said he's Blade, but
yeah, they said he's Blade. They like introduced him as Blade, didn't they?
Yeah, oh yeah, they did. They had like one of the Marvel events or the Disney. Remember the big Disney thing that they had? So yeah, that one's interesting. I thought the Black Panther Wakanda Forever is a great name.
That is a great name. That is a great name, and I hopefully, I want some Namor there. I want those. I want the Submariners.
Namor would be good. I just think what a ridiculous stretch. Starting in December, you go Spider-Man, Doctor Strange 2, Thor 4, and then Black Panther 2.
So we're going. I mean, we got to be doing. We're intergalactic, like the Beastie Boys, and interdimensional.
Yeah.
So this is crazy.
No stone unturned.
No Infinity Stone unturned.
Oh,
there it is. And that's why it works.
That should be their new motto.
Yeah.
Kevin Feige. Speaking of Kevin Feige, how about this? And let me know how you feel about this. This is the whole idea of the podcast, to share our feelings. Benedict Cumberbatch, or Benedict Flapperjacks, who is the
Benefit Lumberjacks.
That was the best one. Benefit Lumberjacks. Doctor Strange, to the layman. He was supposed to be in WandaVision, and it was going to be revealed in the finale that those commercials that we saw and we analyzed with a fine-tooth comb, that he was sending her messages through those commercials. But then Kevin Feige thought, well, we don't want to like overshadow Wanda, so they cut him out of the finale. So rather than explaining stuff that we put in, let's not do that. Oh, what the fuck, man?
This has notes of Zack Snyder, and I don't like it.
This is rare, but we got to call him out when it happens. This is an absolute disaster by Kevin Feige, and I don't love to do this to him.
Oh, you're gonna do it. Do it.
I'm gonna have to kindly tell him to. No, what? All right, have it back.
Yeah, start over.
Kevin Feige.
Get the fuck out of here!
Sorry.
Like, that would have made so much sense, and it would have
been awesome.
5 seconds of screen time is all you needed. I
actually think what he did was, it's also insulting to Wanda or Elizabeth Olsen, because if you think that would have knocked her off like the pedestal, or like, you're wrong. She was such a powerhouse in that show that just having Doctor Strange in for 5 minutes to explain the thing and to tie in the universe and all that stuff. Because what were the big questions after WandaVision? What were those commercials again? And why not have Doctor Strange? How is Doctor Strange not involved in this? And
how does he not know this is going on right now?
Like, where is he? Like, where the shit is he?
Not only that, but like, wouldn't you think if Agatha or Agnes was around that he would know about it?
Yes.
As the Sorcerer Supreme, like if she was pulling some shit, he would know.
Oh yeah,
I gotta have eyes on those people.
Yeah, it's one of the missteps. It's one of those things. It's similar to in Marvel Netflix. You're like, all right, if you're gonna say you're in this universe, and this is what's the problem with all superhero universes, is once you open the door up to multiple heroes, then something can only get so big without the other one showing up, or at least getting involved, or whatever else. And it's one thing, like they did a pretty good job with Captain Marvel, like that made sense. Her movie takes place in the 90s. She's not around. That's because she's everywhere. She's not on Earth. So I get it. But if you're in New York and New York is burning and there's like a big light to the outer space, you might pop your head out. Hey,
Hey, what are we doing over there?
what's going on there?
Okay, yeah,
But so that was I read that today and I was like, come on.
that's bullshit. They should have done that.
They should have done that. Is right.
Because it also sets up the fact that those two are gonna. I believe her to be the villain in Multiverse of Madness.
I hope she
Not
is.
so much a villain, but someone who is doing something not supposed to do, and
Right.
Stephen Strange has to step in and talk some sense into her.
I would like that very much.
I would love that very much.
I would care for that.
Mhm.
Ryan, Game of Thrones, the prequel House of the Dragon, is currently in production, and it is set for a 2022 release on HBO Max. On a scale of 1 to 6, how excited are you? 6 being you can't hide your erection.
I am a flaccid 3 on this.
All right, so you're still soft, but it's not hiding.
It does that thing where it kind of jumps a little bit. The flutter.
That's gross, Ryan. Come on.
You're gross. You stop it.
This is a family podcast.
This is a family podcast. You disgust me.
Yeah, I don't know. And this is going to be like all Targaryens. This is going to be just like right for Targaryen.
Do I care? Do I want to get hurt again? You know?
I think
Am
so.
I ready? Has there been enough time? Has enough time passed for that dump?
But I think you loved it so much at one point, and I was very frustrated with the finale. Well, final season.
Final season, yeah.
Final whole season. It wasn't the finale. It was the whole season. I don't know. But like, I don't think the two dickheads that were in charge of it are in charge of this. I don't believe. So that gives me faith. And people, they're making this knowing what the reaction was to the final season.
I suppose.
You know what I'm saying?
But this is a prequel series too. Now, how far this goes back to the Mad King? Are we going back that far?
I think it's even way before that.
Okay.
I think it's like
no connection to that.
I don't think so. I think it's way earlier. Way earlier.
Okay.
We'll get Chime on sometime. He can break it down for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. DC Fandom is getting another go around. October 16th will be the second Fandom. They pulled it off last year. Pretty entertaining.
It was great. The whole game thing they did was awesome. And then obviously they did their like full slate of movies and all that stuff. So it was actually very good. I enjoyed that. And I hopefully just get some entertainment back in the houses, you know? I feel like we're starting to build momentum towards normal again, which is nice.
I think so too. Some live events or whatever you're probably going to have. But the Fandom last year, one of the highlights of it was The Rock, as he was like really hyping people up about Black Adam and how DC was going to take a turn. And we actually have a quote from The Rock as Black Adam at last DC Fandom.
I bring it.
So very pumped and excited to go. I have some other DC news for you, Ryan. Vincent Kartheiser has been cast as Dr. Jonathan Crane, aka Scarecrow, in season 3 of Titans. This is a guy who we all know, but you would not know his name.
Yes, I don't know his name, but I saw him and I knew exactly who he was, but I did not know that was his name.
And it's so funny to me that I didn't know his name. So he, of course, is Alison Brie's husband from Mad Men. He's also, if you didn't watch Mad Men, he's the Not Great Bob gif of like him in the elevator. He's got like a young face, but like a weird hairline.
And he did in Mad Men. His hairline actually is normal, but they fattened him up a little bit and gave him a weird hairline. But he was like a little fucking weasel in that show, and I forget his name on the show.
Such a weasel.
But it's kind of a sneaky good casting.
I love it, actually. I think he's going to be really good. And I kind of like that show. I've watched every episode. It's all on HBO Max right now.
So I got to get on that. I need a new show, and I think it's going to be Titans.
So one thing I'll say with you specifically, there are you might get frustrated because there are certain things that you're like, how come you didn't like they might not answer every single thing they do. You know what I'm saying?
There might be some, you know me too well to be like, well, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, I'm like, it's one of those shows where it's like, just move on to the next thing.
Or why don't you just tell Batman
Mm-mm.
and he'll take care of it? And they're like, no, we're just gonna.
Hash King said, yeah, Pete was his name. Pete Campbell. I think it was Pete
Campbell. Yep.
But yeah, Titans is their sweet superhero action, and it's kind of similar to the CW shows where they're just like open the vault for like DC characters.
Mm-hmm.
Like that.
So you have Red Hood and Nightwing, right?
Yeah, and so it starts out with Nightwing. He's actually Robin, I think, at the beginning, and then he's transitioning, and then you have the other. So then Jason Todd is Robin. So we've only seen him as Robin, but we're in season 3. He'll be Red Hood.
Nice.
So I don't know if they're gonna kill him first or what. But anyway,
They should probably kill him first because I'm gonna have a problem with that.
I for sure would too, because that's the sweetest thing. And there's like different backstories with him too. I hope they go the Talia al Ghul route, throw him in the Lazarus pit, have him come out psychopath. Love it. And also not on that show, but another DC news. Finn Wittrock, another guy you might not be super familiar with, but that's a strong name.
Mm-hmm.
He has been cast as Guy Gardner in the Green Lantern HBO Max series. So this guy, he's been in like half of the American Horror Stories, and he was also in Ratchet, the Nurse Ratchet show that was on Netflix.
Ryan Murphy guy is what you're saying. He has his stable of.
He is a Ryan Murphy guy. You'd recognize him if you saw him. But there was a big pushback because he got cast as Guy Gardner. We knew there was going to be a Green Lantern series, but everybody was hoping for Jon Stewart, and they ended up getting Guy Gardner. I
was hoping for Jon Stewart because Jon Stewart was supposed to be in Justice League.
He's supposed to be in the Snyderverse.
They filmed the goddamn guy doing it.
Sucks.
Yeah,
he could have been in that.
Finn Wittrock.
Yeah.
His real name is Peter, by the way, from Lenox, Massachusetts.
Where's Lenox?
Lenox is by Stockbridge. It's right where I used to live in Salisbury, Connecticut. It's right by Stockbridge, Great Barrington, Lee, that area.
Can't confirm or deny.
All right.
I can confirm that.
Okay.
It's right outside of Pittsfield, Massachusetts.
Oh, Pittsfield.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're heading out towards New York area there.
Yep. So it's right on the border of New York and Connecticut.
Very nice.
Yep.
Friend of the podcast, Josh Deering, hometown of Pittsfield.
Really?
Yeah.
There you go.
Let's see. Mayor of Easttown had their 3rd episode of 7 last night. Ryan, have you watched it anymore?
No, don't say a word. I love this show. I love the first episode. I'm gonna probably watch episode 2 after this.
Mm-hmm.
But I was all in on the du jour today. This weekend.
And so this will be a standalone episode. This is awesome. This has the Broadchurch, True Detective-ish type vibes to it. I'm digging it.
All the weird Delco accent, motor oil.
I can't do it.
Overdose.
Wow, that's nothing to joke about. So
it's not, but they say that in the show. Oh, she,
yeah.
She overdosed.
I got it.
Yeah.
We mentioned earlier that Star Wars Day is tomorrow, or for many of you listening to this, it is today. So happy Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. And that also means we get the series premiere of The Bad Batch. They released a trailer today, all these character posters. We tweeted all that out at Dork Podcast. The Bad Batch. So it's not normally going to be a Tuesday show, obviously, but they're doing the premiere Tuesday, and then it's going to be a Friday show like all these other Disney Plus shows. But I'm excited, man. Clone Wars is good. Rebels is good. Anything with Filoni, and I don't know how much he's involved in Bad Batch or not, but obviously
he created them, so hopefully he has some say.
Awesome. And I'll tell you, some of the clones in Clone Wars weren't my favorite characters. Like some of the Rex stuff, I was like, can we circle back to Ahsoka Tano, please?
Yeah.
Or
the Rex stuff was kind of like, but when these guys showed up, it was like must see TV.
100%. Bad Batch is sick. So I am looking forward to this. And so we won't do like a mid-season like we did with WandaVision and Falcon Winter Soldier, but we'll do an end season on this. So watch
for sure.
Bad Batch. Ryan, a ton of movies are out right now.
And one of them that I saw this weekend is awesome.
I think I know what it's going to be. Is it your pick of the podcast? Because I can save it.
No, it's not actually, but yeah.
So this was crazy. Like all of a sudden, both new movies and then some old movies that are now available just like got flooded with it. So I'm still like way backed up. I have not seen the new Michael B. Jordan movie yet. I know
neither have I.
I haven't had time. The NFL draft. There's like Celtics games. Obviously, the Red Sox don't stop playing. The Bruins. It just flooded with stuff. But Without Remorse is on Amazon Prime. That's the new Michael B. Jordan movie. That's out. There's a movie on Netflix called Stowaway, which stars Toni Collette, who I love.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I only had like 3 or 4 like actresses that you'd be like, oh, that's your girl, I kind of want Toni Collette to be one of them. Is that okay? Can I get dibs?
Yeah, you get dibs. Yeah, absolutely.
I think Toni Collette, Zoe Saldana, Jennifer Love Hewitt. I'll come up with another one.
How
Where
much
you're
is a
like, oh,
stable?
there's your girl. What?
How much is a stable?
What do you think? 4 or 5?
5. I think 5 is a
5.
good,
All right.
Yeah.
So I'll think about that. Michael B. Jordan, but we can separate. Maybe we can do dudes and ladies.
I got Tom Hardy.
Yep, 100% you have Tom Hardy. I knew that. So Stowaway, I actually watched this. And so it's Toni Collette, Anna Kendrick, and it's a group going to Mars. And they have issues. There's 3 people going to Mars. And
you gotta have problems.
Yeah, well,
You're going to have problems, just like everything else. But stay positive and stay strong.
because Ryan, let me just say this, and I don't even think it's a spoiler because I think it's in the plot. There were supposed to be 3 people going to Mars. There was actually 4.
Ooh.
But it's very sciencey, and it's not worth a standalone episode, but it's worth
They say
it's
a lot of words.
it's worth a 10-minute discussion.
They say words like quantum a lot,
Yeah.
you know.
Scotty or Scotty.
No, they're not
Scotty. Yeah.
So Stowaway is an interesting watch if you like trips to outer space and people in astronaut suits.
And
Toni
one who's not
Collette
supposed to be there. Hence the name of the movie.
Somebody was a stowaway.
Mhm.
You've already cracked it.
I've cracked it.
One that you have seen, I have like 30 minutes left. The Mitchells versus the Machines.
This movie's fucking great. It's great. It's the guys who did Spider-Verse, right? They produced it. The animation is cool. It's legitimately funny at times. The voice acting cast is incredible.
Yeah, Danny McBride, Maya Rudolph.
The girl, I forget her name, Abby Jacobson from Broad City. The guy who directed it actually voices the little brother. Then you have Beck Bennett, Fred Armisen, Conan O'Brien, like just all these people, and it's just it's a funny movie. Like I was cleaning up, and my wife was watching it with the girls, and I was like, "What are you guys watching?" They're like, "Oh, they're watching." They were like 5 minutes into it, and I'm like, "All right, I'll watch a couple minutes just to see how it is." And I watched the whole movie. Like I stopped what I was doing and watched the whole movie.
I don't blame you at all. This is one where I've seen a bunch recently, or not recently, last couple of years, like Soul and Onward and Inside Out, and some of these ones that I didn't really like particularly any of those ones, or I certainly didn't love any of them.
Mhm.
And then this is what I think those were trying to be, at least for me. Like for me, like I was finding myself like really liking it, but it's also like it's easy for kids. I think if you're a parent, you're really gonna like it in a different way. Also,
if you're a dog lover, you love little stupid dogs. Munchie the dog.
Stupid dog sells. I can watch stupid dog stuff all day long, but then also how topical it is with the electronics and how everybody is just like obsessed with their phones. Like great. So I can't wait to finish. I'm going to watch it.
Oh, that's great. Yep.
And then a movie I also haven't seen yet, but on HBO Max just came out this weekend is Christopher Nolan's Tenet. So I'll finally get a chance to see that sometime.
So I finally get to watch it.
All right. So yes, so you haven't seen it either.
I have not, but I plan on watching it this week.
Ryan, should we get to everybody's favorite game show?
Let's do it. I got a surprise for you too.
Should I have bought this? That is the game where you, the listener, send us, the podcast hosts, an email to dorkpodcast@gmail.com with something that you bought, how much it cost, and if you'd like a brief story or description, that helps. And Ryan and I will say either yes, you should have bought it, or no. And if it's unanimous, Ryan, you will hear this.
This is how we do it. This is how we do it.
If it's a no, you'll hear this.
Get the fuck out of here.
And of course, if it's split between me and Davey, we will immediately look to the current YouTube chat. We stream these episodes every Monday night on our YouTube channel. And whatever the majority says in the chat, that will break the tie. Before we get to this week's Should I Have Bought This, we are going to do a Should I Have Bought This revisited. Because, Ryan, if you remember, last week we took a look at this beauty here.
Yeah.
This is from last week's episode, the Magneto helmet, a handmade Magneto helmet Nick Fryer of the Dork Shared Universe, both the Change My Mind podcast and TLDR. He spent $90 on this, and it wasn't me, but some have called it an absolute piece of shit.
It wasn't me either.
It wasn't me.
I just said it was wonky.
No, I liked it, but we ultimately gave it a no, not just because of how mean the comments were about how shitty it was, but people did also say that it didn't look symmetrical. Ryan, is this fair? Is this a fair summation of last week?
If you're looking at the picture as we are right now, it is clear that what would be his left side, so stage right, is resting comfortably on the desk. Yeah. Meanwhile, stage left, the right side of the helmet is completely off the desk.
Okay. Yeah,
you could fit fingers underneath it. Like this thing does not. It's not straight.
No, I know, and I thought somebody made this though, and so I have a respect for that.
Same.
You know, my mom was an art teacher for many years. I have a soft spot always for art and the creation, but a lot of people did see the takeaway was that it was a hunk of shit.
Use their phrase, and we didn't say that. That wasn't the language we used.
So Fryer responded to us on
because we challenged him to put it on to see if it was actually crooked.
And a lot of people said no fucking way, because if you look inside, there's random
foam.
So people didn't think that he could actually put it on, right?
Yeah.
So I give you, Ryan, this photo.
It's still fucking crooked.
Well, I know, but he's wearing it.
He is wearing it. It does fit him. At
the very least, he's wearing it.
All right, but look at this. So look, as I'm looking at it right now, so as the wonky side, so Nick Fryer's right side, if you look at the point where the eye thing comes in,
almost in his eyeball,
touching his eye.
It's almost touching his eyeball.
The other side is well on his cheekbone. So there's like a good inch difference there.
So that's his left eye, and if you were in a fight with him, you might not be able to read his mind, but you could easily get a spear in there.
Or not only that, all I have to do is punch him on the right side of the face, and it'll drive that pointy part directly into his eyeball.
So I didn't even ask the question yet, but Allie says you're gonna poke your eye out, kid. John says it's an absolute piece of shit. Also the mask. Josh in the chat says it actually looks worse on. Kevin says it's crooked as fuck. Ryan's gonna still know. Ryan, do you want to re-vote on this, or have you had your mind made up? And again,
sure, let's vote. Let's vote.
Listen, I don't want to. I have a mind of my own, but I do kind of agree with what the chat is having to offer here. I wouldn't look, Ryan. This was $90 American too, on top of everything else.
It's like 90 pesos this thing is worth, but I'll take it. But no, that's a no from me, dog.
Fuck out of here.
Thank you very much, Nick. I am happy though that he was able to follow up and sort of say, here's what it looks like.
It's not okay. So I will say this though, it's not as bad as I thought. But if you look like in the Magneto mask, like that's supposed like the mouthpiece is supposed to come like away from his face a little bit. His mouth is like mushed, like in the thing.
Yeah. No, it's.
I will say this. The more I look at it, the more I hate it. Like initially, I was like, you know what, that's okay. And then the more I look at it, the more I hate it.
All right, let's get to this week's. So that was last week.
Wait, I have a late entry.
Oh, you do?
I do. How do we feel about things that were bought for us?
Well, we did one last week. Remember the Dave Chappelle tickets, and we said yes.
Right. Okay. So this literally just came across my desk. Literally. Right. It's sitting on my desk right now. So quick story. My nephew, who stays with me during the school year, had his national wrestling tournament in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania this weekend.
Okay.
My brother, his father, took him, and the town immediately adjacent to Wilkes-Barre is it Wilkes-Barre? Wilkes-Barre? Wilkes-Barre?
Pennsylvania?
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, Wilkes-Barre. They used to have, that's where they have an AHL affiliate.
The Penguins.
Yeah.
So the town immediately adjacent to that is Scranton, Pennsylvania. So my brother and my nephew, big Office fans, went to Cooper's and had dinner, the seafood place.
How about that?
And they went to the Steamtown Mall, which is featured in The Office. And there at the Steamtown Mall, they purchased me for $23 and some cents. Now with the tax, it goes over 25.
Okay, you just saved it there.
Yeah.
Now it's eligible. Yep.
My very own Dundee Award.
This is how we do it. This is how we do it.
Yes,
So I got a Dundee for
favorite
best teacher.
that's my favorite episode, so I'm going to give you a yes every
There
time.
it is right there. It's an actual like little plastic trophy with a businessman on it, not a bowler. I did not get bushiest beaver, which I was hoping to get, but I got best teacher. So
No, that's good.
I feel God in this podcast tonight. I got my very own Dundee. So there we go.
Right,
We're
so that's
just over $25.
I like it. All right, this
Mhm.
one's way over $25, Ryan. Let's go back to the picture here. Oop, I'm an idiot. All right. So, as you can see, why don't you describe this to the listener here?
What I am looking at right now is what seems to be a pen and ink drawing of a singular page of a comic book, which looks to be some sort of original artwork or planned artwork for a comic book.
100% right. This entry comes in from Dan. This is original artwork from American Vampire,
Ooh.
one of our favorites from Scott Snyder. This is issue 1, page 10. He paid $250 for it. Issue 1, page 10, original artwork from American Vampire, which I also think as soon as this show, and I know Snyder is like writing more of it now too, like he came out with Black Label, but there's a lot. You can go back and watch it. It's one of the comics that both me and Davey highly recommend to everybody. This, I feel like once it becomes a TV show, which it has to at some point,
Or a series of movies.
this will skyrocket in price, don't you think?
Oh God, yeah. And
So-
it's only, I think the film rights have been purchased.
Probably.
I got to check, but like, keep talking.
So I like it a lot. It's I think it's pretty cool. Like if you're into this kind of stuff, right? Like because we had people write in some like autograph stuff. We've gotten things like that. So it's kind of what you're into. $250 is obviously a pretty steep price, but this is a one of a kind. Like that part of it's cool. It's even better to me than an autograph because an autograph is like you got a bunch of those, right? Like there's a lot of people with like, okay, how do you know how many autographs there are? But this is only one person has issue 1, page 10 of American Vampire, and it's Dan, right?
And that's the original plan. And it's not even like a page torn out of the comic. This is like, it looks like almost concept art.
Yeah.
For that, like the planning out stage of a comic book, because as a comic book is written, it's written in multiple stages. So there's no words, it's just storyboards, basically. And you can see, I'm looking at it right now, and it's actually fascinating because you can see you can see like almost like the brush strokes of and everything, and it's actually really, really cool, and it looks like it's in really good condition. I personally I would not spend $250 on that, but I can see why you did, and I would say thumbs up from me.
This is how we do it. This is how we do it.
All right, and that's how you play. Should I have bought this? So email us dorkpodcast@gmail.com, and we will answer the question, should I have bought this? Real quick, Dan also, as part of his email, threw in a quick question here. So let's answer the question quickly. He said, if you have space in your Dragon Slayer, or it's hypothetical, you have space in your Dragon Slayer or whatever Davy's counterpart is to it. You have a certain
The bullpen, it's right there.
Davy's bullpen right behind you. You can see it on the stream. He says you are allowed to have 5 arcade games. You could fit 5 arcade games, and not the ones he said that can play like 1,000 games.
Nope.
5 individual arcade games. What would you want? He also says if you wanted to turn it into an arcade, pinball machine, skee ball, all that counts as well. But what would your 5 arcade games be?
Okay, so I broke this down. I took this very seriously because this is kind of my arena, right? So I figured I needed each type of game. So the game that my favorite stand-up arcade game of all time, as you know, is Street Fighter 2.
Yes.
That's a no-brainer.
Yes.
I would then go fourth controller side scroller. I would go Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, that's a fucking good one.
Then sports game, NBA Jam.
Same.
1B and NFL Blitz. Then for my shooter, I'm going Time Crisis 2.
Oh,
And then lastly, racing game Outrun. That's the
All
one with you're in the Ferrari with the chick, and if you crash it, she like yells at you.
I like that. That's pretty good. I would go quickly. NBA Jam, Tekken, or whatever. Maybe Tekken 2, 3, whatever they have. One of those. I would go Mario Kart. It's kind of cheating because I'd want to get like 2 or 3 of them in there so people could play. You know what I'm saying?
I think if you got like Daytona, like you would have to get like 4. Yeah.
So I'll go Mario Kart, NBA Jam, Tekken. I'm gonna go Ms. Pac-Man, just super old school. And then, God, I have to have a gun game, don't I? Do I want to give you
one?
Do I want to go Deer Hunter or do I want to go like House of the Dead?
I'll say I knew you were going to say House of the Dead.
Yeah. All right, I'll go House of the Dead.
Yep.
All right, sweet. That was a good question.
It's time for Davey's video game minute, even if it takes more than a minute.
All right, Ron, what do you have?
Well, just to kickflip off of that, to put what would be great is if you had House of the Dead and you had it on free play, so you could go with dual guns.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
You can't really do that in Time Crisis because you get to step on the thing.
Right.
But anyway, this portion of the podcast is always brought to you powered by our friends at Wild Bill's Soda. Go to drinkwildbills.com, use the promo code Ron Von D, get yourself 20% off your purchase. Buy some soda. Featuring Richard, new flavor. I think I'm going to say Dr. Bill's. I'm not.
No, you're not. I saw this.
Strawberry cream. Get you some strawberry cream. They're doing all sorts of cool things at Wild Bill's. Go to drinkwildbills.com. Use the promo code Ron Von D. Let's get into it. So, the main thing I want to talk about here, Richard, a game came out Friday that I was very intrigued by. Impulse bought and is now the front runner for my favorite game of the year. And that game is Returnal. Now, it is a PlayStation exclusive.
All right.
It is a roguelike game starring Gwendolyn Christie. She, Captain Phasma, or Lady Brienne of Tarth.
Brienne of Tarth, yeah.
Who does a great job in the game. So this game, it's like Alien. So think of like Alien, but every time you die, you go back to like your ship crash. And all of the whole level is randomly generated. So it changes every time you die.
Okay.
So it's like that game, like Dead Cells, or a game like that I had played before, where like once you die, you're dead and you lose all your stuff. There are some permanent upgrades and stuff like that, but people are bitching about it because you can't save.
Oh.
You can't save your game, so you just go like it's a really long. It's supposed to be challenging, and what they do, so like once you beat the first boss, you get this key, and this key will basically let you skip, kind of like the first level, right? So I'm on the second part of it right now. It's super challenging, but why I like this game so much is because it's challenging, but it's accessible. And I hear a lot from people when talking about video games, talking about like the Souls games or talking about Bloodborne or any games like Sekiro or any of those games. And I'm just like, video games to me should offer a challenge, but should also be fun.
Yeah.
Those games are not fun.
No, for me, they're not at all either. Like my sweet spot is the Batman Arkham games or Grand Theft Auto or Last of Us, all games that I didn't beat easily, but I beat them. And like it was fun. Like
when you figure stuff out, you're like, oh, I'm smart. Like I could do this. You know, there's a good feeling associated with it. Whereas anybody who is like a hardcore player of anything like from software, like this, that's just like a joyless thing. So if you guys really like roguelikes, you guys like sci-fi and aliens and shooting laser guns. And by the way, on the PlayStation 5, this game is gorgeous.
I bet.
60 frames, ray tracing, minimal load times. This game is the shit. Right. It looks amazing. So please check out Returnal. My stream is slowly returning. We did 2 last, so we're slowly building back. We're building towards the summer, just in time for me to move and not have my console on me ever.
What month are you in?
June. So June. June. Shit. I'm moving on a very significant day in my life, which is my birthday, which is a birthday of some significance this year.
You have
I have a big birthday coming up. We shan't talk about it any further, but I'm actually
21.
moving on my birthday. And then we'll be essentially homeless for the next 5 weeks. So that'll be fun. So we'll have to figure out what to do with the podcast. I am going to be in the great state of Massachusetts, so we could do it in studio if I'm fully vaccinated.
Yeah.
I don't know where you land on that or where EEI lands on that, but
there. Yeah, I don't think you're allowed in the building. Actually, you might be if you're fully vaccinated.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
I am fully vaccinated.
Work around.
So speaking of streams, there's something that has been happening on Twitch recently, Richard, and I don't know if you've been reading about this. There's a huge craze, and they're starting to promote because the way Twitch's algorithm works, like the more people watching your thing, like it'll get promoted like on the main page. And one of the things that is like hotcakes, it's selling like hotcakes these days, are hot tub streams.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I have no idea why this is allowed, how this is like. Again, I mean, where does the censorship come into play, and where does it? Because
I don't know
how many little kids are watching Twitch and watching these e-thoughts in their thong bikini, the thong to thong bikinis, floating in a baby pool.
There's this one girl who she's on there, and she does this. And I remember I was like I wouldn't say in on the ground floor, not of the fucking hot tub time machine, but of her sort of rise to popularity. Her name is Amaranth.
Amaranth or something like
So like 5 years ago, like 4 years ago, I probably followed her randomly on Twitter because this is when I first started playing Overwatch, and she did like a diva cosplay.
Right.
Like, but it wasn't like crazy, like horny. It was just like a cosplay. I'm like, oh, that's pretty good. And whatever, just like, click follow and you move on with your life. And then she probably had like 10,000 followers or less. She's over 1 million now.
Right.
All she does is like these hot tub things and like whatever can still stay on Twitch without getting like put on YouPorn.
So she got banned briefly because she was on Twitch promoting her OnlyFans. So they banned her for that. Now she's back.
Yeah.
And is she back like ever? And like you said, I mean, she has
too. Like she took off in like the last 3 years.
Yeah, like crazy. And again, she was like a middle of the road cosplayer. Like she would like do cosplay on her stream and like whatever, and actually play video games. Like she played like Dance Dance Revolution, like all that shit. But like, or not? What's the other one? Just Dance or whatever. But
yeah, but she also played like Overwatch. Like it started out as like a gamer, and then now she's probably like, nah, I'm not making money like this.
Right, and then like where like you got to figure if you're on the front page, people are pissed. Like, because you sign on to Twitch, the very first thing you see is that you're like, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah. And
just the way the algorithm works, so it's something to watch there. Now, I wonder if they're still selling the water in the pool. Remember that the girls selling the tub water?
Sure.
Gross.
For $1.
The Resident Evil demo is out.
Yeah.
Resident Evil Village. Did you play that? It's pretty good.
I haven't played it yet. No.
And one of my favorite games, not the best game, but one of my favorite games of last year, Bullets Per Minute, BPM, or the game I played where you had to like do it to the beat. Like you had to, as a first person shooter like Doom, but you had to like shoot to the beat. That's coming out for console this summer.
Cool.
So make sure you check out Bullets Per Minute. And that has been the Davies Video Game Minute, powered by our friends at Wild Bill Soda. Go to drinkwildbills.com, use the promo code RonVonD. Get some soda, get some strawberry cream, get some Dr. Bill's.
Yes.
Get some.
Come on, please.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan, I got a question for you.
What?
You all ready for biz?
I do not want any of your hot tub water.
Well, I'm glad you asked. It's the topic of the day. And today it is Invincible, an Amazon Prime show that ran for 8 episodes. It's already been picked up for seasons 2 and 3 based on the Robert Kirkman comic book. Of course, Kirkman's the guy who also created The Walking Dead. This is his latest version in the animated show on Amazon. We start, as we always do, with our movie and TV reviews, spoiler free. Ryan, did you like it?
I loved it.
Loved it.
Loved it.
It was sick. What did you know about this property before watching it?
I knew you had talked about it.
Yeah.
Because when talking about The Walking Dead, you said there's another Robert Kirkman thing called Invincible that I just started reading.
Yep.
That's it.
That's
all I knew about it.
Yeah, I didn't read much of it, and this is similar to The Walking Dead. There is like 1 million issues of this thing. Like this thing could go on forever if he wants it to. So I haven't even dug deep enough to really know all the similarities and differences. Actually, our buddy Nick Fryer, he could probably explain that to you. He's read way more of this than I have. He can wear his Magneto helmet and tell you all about it if you want him to. But yeah, I didn't know much about it. Cool concept, and it's funny because the basis of it, it sounds very PG, and the fact that it's animated, we had a bunch of people tweet us like, "Hey, I watched this with my like 7-year-old, and whoops, like I should have done that." Because also the animation in the show looks a lot like the comic does, and so that I kind of like. And there's just like a million characters, and it's really cool. But the premise of a kid who doesn't have his powers, his dad's a superhero, his mom's a normal earthling, and then he gets to high school, boom, he becomes a superhero, and now he has to learn to be a superhero. Like just that on its own, like, oh, that's a cute story. There's more.
There's more than that.
There's a whole lot more.
Oh boy, does that onion have many layers, and they get stinky.
And I love, so there's a lot of characters that you find yourself very interested in this show. The violence is also off the charts. Some of the best violent scenes that you probably could only truly pull off in an animated show. I think if this was a live action show, how difficult it would be to do some of the scenes. I don't think you could even do, right? You just have to be like, we can't do this.
No, and you remember how jarring, speaking of Game of Thrones, when the mountain crushed the Viper's skull.
Yeah.
And how like, oh my God, like holy shit.
Yeah, there's
like
a lot
how
of
jarring that was.
There's a lot of that.
There's a lot of that in this show. There's a lot of head squishing.
It's crazy. I would say what do you think is better, the comedy or the violence?
I love the fact that they're kind of intertwined. Like I love the juxtaposition. I know that's a fucking douchey word to say, but I love having those side by side. Like you had these really goofy moments, you had these really heartfelt moments, and then you had these like super ultra violent moments that seemed that were like it kind of, because like you said, the way it's drawn and the way the animation is, it's super glossy and a lot of color. It's not gritty at all.
No.
And it's supposed to look like an old school like 80s comic book that's like super squeaky clean, and everything is, and I love that about it.
I do too. And I also I think that the world that they're in is super cool. And the one comparison that has come up is the other show that's on Amazon Prime is The Boys, where all right, it's not a Marvel property, it's not a DC property, but it is well aware of which characters are super famous and what characters have had a lot of success and have lived on. And so you can kind of parody those characters. Like The Boys, especially like if you read The Boys comic, it'd be hilarious just to do a show on which character is based off of that character, and like how like just a real comedic version of, or just a more like gross version of in a lot of cases, whereas this is a similar thing, because it's like, again, just so Invincible's father is Superman, like basically like Omni-Man is Superman, and the Guardians of the Globe are the Justice League, but it sounds like Guardians of the Galaxy, but it's actually Justice League. And like there's a character that's like Martian Manhunter, there's a character that's like the Flash, there's a character that's like Batman. Like you go through it, but you could tweak them all too. Like, and I love that like they have this like open season for every character.
Just enough to keep you out of court, right? And so there's like there's I forget, he's called, he looks just like Batman. And the guy Red Rush is Darkwing, and Red Rush is clearly the Flash. You have War Woman, who's clearly Wonder Woman. Like and there's even like the Martian or something. Like they even call him like
Martian Man.
That's what it is.
Like, right on it.
And what I love, and the similarity I draw between the Kirkman and Garth Ennis, is that the idea of what superheroes would really be like in the real world. Now I say in the real world, but in a normal society. Like, I love the idea. And again, if you look at, The Boys, even Watchmen or Injustice, like what if Superman was a fucking prick? Or what if he just didn't care anymore? Like, what would that look like, and what would that be like? And I love the playing out the psychology of that. And Omni-Man, to me, voiced by J.K. Simmons, which is incredible voice cast. That guy could do anything.
Oh, he's awesome. Yeah.
because he could be very funny, but he could also be very serious. Like he brings it down and he's super serious. Like if he just had complete disconnect from humanity, like what that would look like. I hope that was a little spoilery, but sorry.
J.K. Simmons is great in this, and the voice cast, like real quick, this isn't even everybody. It's just this is 8 episodes of TV. J.K. Simmons, Stephen Yun, Sandra Oh, Zachary Quino, Ross Marquand, Gillian Jacobs, Jason Mantzoukas, Laurie Cohen, Sonika Martin Green, Chad Coleman. These are all like Michael Cutlitz, Lenny James. Those are all Walking Dead characters. Walking Dead would know those actors. Walton Goggins, Seth Rogen, Mahershala Ali, Ezra Miller, Andrew Reynolds, Zazie Beetz, Mark Hamill, John Hamm, Sean Patrick Harris, Jonathan Gruff, Jonathan Roiland, and of course, Reginald Val Johnson as they go to Reginald Val Johnson High School.
I thought he was dead. I thought Reginald Val Johnson was dead, but apparently he's not. By the way, I don't really like Seth Rogen. I think he's annoying. And he was great.
He's good in this.
He's actually good in this. I'm not going to tell you what character he is if you haven't watched it yet, but he's great in this. You know it immediately when he opens his mouth.
Is he one of the producers on this show?
He could be, because I think
he is. He's one. He and his buddy Evan Goldberg are fucking they're living our dream, Ryan.
Absolutely. Like I don't want to be in the show. I just want to produce the show. I want to be the one who's like, all right, this is how you have to do this.
See, then you'd be Evan Goldberg, because I would want to be in the show. So
I don't want to be in the show.
So these guys, so not only did they like write Superbad based on their life and like, write all, Seth Rogen's written a ton of shit, but then they are such comic book fans like you and I are that they brought Preacher to the screen. They brought The Boys to the screen. They brought Invincible. Well, them and other guys. Kirkman had a lot of sway after the success of The Walking Dead. But it's like, I feel like Seth Rogen likes the same kind of comics we do, which is a good sign. So if you read something that you like, chances are Seth Rogen's going to try to make it into a show.
So if he's listening, because I know he's listening right now, a big friend of the podcast, Seth Rogen, do American Vampire.
Put it on.
Do it exactly how you did Preacher.
And
cast Rich Keefe as Skinner Sweet.
Sold. I am absolutely sold on that. I assume, Ryan, you would call this a must-watch?
I think so. I mean, if you're listening to this right now and you haven't watched it yet, get off your duff and go watch this. It's on Amazon Prime. You have Prime anyway. If you don't have Amazon Prime, what are we even doing?
Oh, by the way, another one of the Robert Kirkman projects is, or a comic that he wrote for Image was called Outcast, and that was on TV. It
was on Cinemax,
which was random. They had a show, and I watched the first season and I liked it, but it's definitely not as good as Walking Dead or Invincible. But
you know what it is too? It's Patrick Fugit, the kid who was in the show. He was in Almost Famous. He plays the lead in that show. I don't think he can carry a show like that.
No, maybe not. It was kind of tough. It was like a cool idea. It was a cool premise. Yeah. I would leave it at cool premise. Hashtag Dork score before we get to spoilers.
5.5.
Yeah, I love it, but hear me out. I'm gonna go 5. I'm gonna go rock hard 5, to the point where, like, if there are other shows that are a 5, this would probably beat those shows, if you know what I'm saying. But the reason why I said it is I thought the first episode and the last episode were awesome.
By far the best.
I love those two. By the way, both written by Robert Kirkman. None of the other episodes were written by him. Obviously inspired by his books, but he wrote the first and last one. I thought there was enough lull in the middle to sort of knock it down. But again, I loved it. I've given it a 5. I'm kind of saving some of the 6s for what could be like a perfect show this year. But
and that's honestly what knocked it down. I think the episode, so if it was 8 episodes, I think it was like 4, 5, and 6. Like it was the one where they like went to college, and then the one where they went to Mars.
Yeah.
Like there's those episodes kind of like, meh, you know what I mean? Like I not enough in those episodes.
And they also released the first 3 episodes at once, and then it was weekly.
Yeah.
Which is what is that what WandaVision did? Or no, who did that?
Yes, WandaVision did that.
Boys does that, or whatever. Other shows do that too. So all right, anything else non-spoiler?
No, it's a great show. Please watch it.
Spoilers! Here come the spoilers!
So the moment for me, and I would say the moment for most people that you realize you were in for some stuff, was when Omni-Man, who at this point you don't know, you assume Omni-Man's a good guy, and you were wrong, because Omni-Man destroys the Guardians of the Globe, which cool little tip of the cap. Every member of the Guardians of the Globe, which was War Woman, Green Ghost, Martian Man, Red Rush, Darkwing, the Immortal, and Aquarius, all voiced by
That was the other,
all voiced by Walking Dead actors.
who
And
died in the show. Yeah.
And Omni-Man all like just destroyed them in like each way, each death more violent than the last. And you're like,
when he picked Darkwing up by the feet and swung him like a hammer and like and the blood went like out. It wasn't like it went like pfft. It was like a shotgun of blood. I was like, I think I said out loud like, holy shit.
Is this too much to say that, and I think you were kind of hitting on it a little bit in non-spoiler, but this show does the best job involving a character that would have Superman-like powers?
Yeah. Because
I feel like Superman, even when you see him, and I don't care, like good or bad, you don't really see the full display or like what he's capable of. And the fact that like Superman and Batman got into like an actual fight or like things like that, whereas like Omni-Man, just people that aren't him, just destroys them, just like grabs their face and squeezes their face shut, like or like explodes their head.
And I think, I mean, this is what, I have one of the biggest problems I had like with the Avengers video game. Why on earth does it take more than one punch for the Hulk to just absolutely send a normal human being flying?
Yeah, like a little guy running at you with a taser.
Like,
You're the Hulk.
And this is why you can't get a good Superman video game, because it would be too easy.
Yes, it would. Yeah.
Like, and I think it has to be like on a larger scale. Like they bring out that monster at the end that he has to, what do they call it? Like Hail Mary? The Hail Mary?
Yeah. Oh, that thing was pretty cool.
That thing was cool. But when you think of this is what the closest I think Superman would be to, because at what point do you just stop caring? At what point are you just like, this doesn't fucking matter?
Yeah. And I love the switch. And he even explains like how he ages, like in the finale. And he's like telling like his wife, he's like, yeah, I was here for like 17 years or like, that's literally nothing. Like, that's nothing. And like, he's like, you don't love mom? He's like, yeah, I love her like a pet. That was some cold.
Oh, and they were just like, shit. Oh, and like the way, and again, I can't say enough about J.K. Simmons, because there are times where he's legitimately funny, where he's, there's like those heartwarming moments with like him and his son. He's like clearly proud of his son. Yeah. And then there's that where he's just like stone cold.
He is so cold. That line. And then also the great Stephen Yeun does a great job as Invincible. And when he's like, because like they age so differently, and he's like, so like in like 200 years or whatever, like what would you have? Like who would be left? And he's like, you'd be left. And that fucked him up, I think, because that, even though he beat the piss out of him in the finale, he took off. And we'll get to the finale and like what sort of that means. But I also thought what was cool is you weren't sure. So you knew Omni-Man was bad, but you didn't really know. And because he was still a good dad, he was still a good husband, didn't part of you say, no, maybe something was up with the Guardians of the Globe, or like maybe he knew something we didn't? Like it was still open-ended enough as the season went on that you're like, all right, I'm 99% sure he's bad, because he's fucking like, he's not just killing people, he's destroying them and obliterating them. But I'm like, I kind of want to hear him out. I kind of want to know what's up.
Yeah, and I love that they let that hang all season. And by the way, a character that we didn't talk about yet, Damien Darkblood, who was like the Hellboy. It was like one of my favorite characters.
I loved him. And so again, I'm not super familiar with Invincible, and what I've read, it was a while ago. I think, and again, people maybe in the chat are more familiar with it, Davey. I believe there's a Spawn-like character at some point, which will be right up your alley. I'm pretty sure there is. So there's definitely a lot of characters, and I hope we get more Damien Darkblood, though. I was a huge fan of him, and yeah, he looks just like Hellboy, but the way he was investigating
with like a private investigator outfit on, yeah.
But he would like pop, it would get really cold, and then he'd like pop up, and then it'd be gone, and like so, Omni-Man always knew he was around because it was fucking freezing in his house. But he was the one that was like, he knew something was up, and he's just like trying to do good so he can get out of hell. Like that was good. No, but the other thing I really liked about the Omni-Man thing, which was like a little bit of a twist. And again, maybe you saw it coming, but you heard that, oh, like he was from this planet, not Krypton, whatever you want to call it. And he comes to Earth because everybody had one. And some part of my thinking was, all right, he just snapped then. Like he left from Krypton and went to Earth. But then like, no. In reality, they sent them all. This was a fucking plan, and they're gonna take all these planets and merge them into this thing. Like, that was pretty cool.
And I love the bit too where Seth Rogen, I forget the name of the character he plays, Alan the alien.
He plays Alan the alien. Yeah.
Alan the alien is like, I had no idea that if I knew Omni-Man was there, I wouldn't have come anywhere near this planet, because they're like I forget what I wanted to say like Remulac, but I forget that's a different show.
No, I know. Yeah.
But he's like, if I knew he was there, I wouldn't have come anywhere near this planet.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I like that one a lot.
Like no one in the universe like fucks with those guys.
No, like they're just like, yeah. And that's what it should be. Like that's what Superman should be. Is like everyone's just terrible. And that's why, again, going back to the Snyder Cut, which I liked, when when they finally got Superman and he fought Steppenwolf, he beat the balls off him in like 5 seconds. You're like,
it wasn't even a fight.
No, you're like, okay, that's what it would be.
Yeah.
And then
I keep going back to that like Pete Holmes College Humor thing where they're like, he's telling Batman they need to team up, and he's like, why?
Yeah, I think you got it. I think you got it. Clark, handle it.
No, you don't need me.
I think you're good. Yeah, Omni-Man though. Omni-Man's just so good, and I'm fascinated to see what else happens with that. So the Guardians of the Globe are gone. They get smashed. They bring in the new Guardians, which basically they promoted most of them from what their version of Teen Titans was.
Right.
And so Adam Eve's a good character. I like her.
I'm not really sure what she does though.
It's like she everything. It's like all kinds of like she must just be able
like with matter. Like she can just like change matter. Like that's what she does. Yeah,
I guess. Rexplode, voiced by Jason Mantzoukas.
He is just like the best douchebag.
Awesome.
He has like the best douchebag voice.
Yeah, I was gonna say between this and what's the fucking show on Big Mouth? Perfect.
Big Mouth, and then on Parks and Rec, he plays like this perfume guy who's like a complete jackass, and then on The League, he's just it's the same character.
Well, I was saying like, but like voiceover stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah,
so good. So then he cheats on Adam Eve with Duplicate, which is kind of funny.
And also, if you're gonna cheat on anybody with anybody, it's gonna be Duplicate.
I would imagine it'd be Duplicate. Yeah,
yeah,
not Monster Girl.
No,
or Shrinking Ray. They also have Black Samson in there, who was in the original, and then he was out, and now he's back in. So what do you make of the robot character? Very weird.
Very weird that he's like fixated on Monster Girl, who every time she turns into the Hulk gets younger.
Yeah.
And he becomes like fascinated with her. That's going to get creepier before it gets better. And then I like the reveal of like who Robot really was. Like he was like this like it
almost reminded
like Quado from Total Recall,
or like Krang from Ninja Turtles. But like, so he had this functioning like robot, but that was just like him. Like he like built that thing.
Yeah.
And then now he's like that boy, and they're all just like they're like so fucking confused when he shows up.
Well, I love how he modeled his looks after Rex.
Yeah.
And like everyone's fascinated by the fact that he got out of the robot and into another body, and Rex is pissed because he looks like him.
Right. That's awesome. So good. What do you think? Oh, going back to Omni-Man and Invincible's family, Debbie, the mom.
I
thought her best stuff was when she was talking with Cecil, who was like in charge of the Global Defense Agency. And it was like, clearly they knew each other from before, but like their relationship wasn't great. But now they're like clearly going through this shit together. But I thought that was probably the best stuff with her.
And what do you do? I mean, it's such a weird thing. Like, what if your husband, who is Superman, is going to literally destroy the world?
Yeah.
And the only one who can stop it or has a chance at stopping him, probably will die, is your son.
Yeah, I don't love his chances right now because he just found his power. It's like a a couple weeks ago.
And this guy's been doing this for hundreds of years. And not only that,
Yeah.
for a guy named Invincible, he certainly gets the piss beat out of him a lot.
Doesn't die though.
Doesn't die.
Maybe he didn't say
He is quite invincible, it seems.
right. What do you think of the costumes?
I like that there's the suit maker. Some people's costumes are better than others. I think Omni-Man's costume's awesome. I like Invincible's. I'm trying to think.
I like Omni-Man's. I like
Immortals is cool. He's got like that Wolverine thing going. Like the I'm going through the thing right now.
What'd you think of the Mauler twins?
I like the Mauler twins.
You do?
I thought them talking about who the clone was.
That's actually pretty good.
It's actually pretty funny. And I like you see them and you think that they're just like big hulking morons, but they're actually really smart.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they are. They're geniuses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like they had to use those guys. I also like the one set of villains from early in the season that they come from a planet that the time is different. So like they came here, they were like dominant, but then they aged super old. But then they left and they came back, and it was like,
but then
they just took like 7 years to figure out how to beat us or whatever. It's kind of funny.
And then you see them at the end when they're talking about all the planets they took over, and the reason they showed up at Earth to go at Earth was because a new Omni-Man was there because he fucked up their planet.
Yeah, pretty cool.
And now that all makes sense. Like, why did these random aliens just show up? You know?
Oh yeah, he went and it was there for like a long time, but it wasn't a long time, and he beat the shit out of them. Yeah, you're right. So they really kind of laid ground for what's going on with Omni-Man. So at the end of this whole thing, Omni-Man leaves after beating the shit out of Invincible, but he leaves, and they're just like, that doesn't happen. And so like there's that really important conversation with Invincible and Alan the alien, and he's just like, so he just like left. He's like, no, those guys don't just bail.
Yeah, they're coming back.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's pissing me off. I don't know what planet. I forget the name of the planet. If someone in the chat can know what planet they're from, because
what planet who's from? Omni-Man?
It's really driving me nuts. Like I can't think of the name of the planet, and I don't want to use my clicky clack keyboard to look it up.
Viltrum.
Viltrum. So they're Viltrumites.
Yeah, Viltrumites.
So the Viltrumites are coming back.
Yeah, and
there's going to be more than one of them.
Yeah,
which is going to be bad.
And I don't think they're really prepared. And that was like one of the things. Like maybe the new Guardians of the Globe are starting to work together a little bit, but they did not work together for shit before. You know, that was not their strength. But there's like sort of like a group that Alan the alien sort of is a part of, and they need to figure that out. They might want to join up with them to have any kind of a chance.
Yeah, right.
One thing with his girlfriend Amber, who I did like in the show, but then she didn't cut him any slack when he was like, "I'm a superhero."
Well, I like that. She's like, "I'm not stupid." Like,
I did
obviously
like
you're a superhero.
Yeah, because I do like. I'm glad they didn't put that on for too long, because that's such a trope in so many shows, where whether it's a superhero or just like a different kind of thing, and they don't like. Well, I can't tell her. And you're like, well, how long can this really go?
The funny thing is his friend,
William.
It was funny because he was like, obviously Omni-Man doesn't wear a mask, and he's like, yeah, Omni-Man's my dad, and he's like, oh, yeah, I wonder why I didn't ever put that together. Like, it was so stupid because he doesn't wear. All you have to do is look at Omni-Man and look at his father. You know his father. You're lifelong friends.
Yeah.
Like, how stupid are you? You know?
Yeah. But there's a lot of superheroes. They're not all very good, but there's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, but Omni-Man, like, look at him, you know?
Also, what do you think is going on with, is there going to be more to the story with, is it Titan, who's like kind of like their version of Kingpin? Because that was an interesting storyline where he was like, wanted Invincible's help, and you're like, all right, so is he a good guy? And then he like kind of takes over, and you're like, all right, now I don't know what to expect.
And then and he's kind of like Luke Cage. Is it the guy with the stone skin? He's kind of like Luke Cage is said to have like.
I was gonna say it started out. Yeah, you're right. It started out as Luke Cage, and this was Mahershala Ali did the voice.
Yes.
And so it started out very Luke Cage like, but then it kind of morphed into like Kingpin by the end. I'm like, interesting.
But it is nice that it's like that kind of criminal element, you know.
I like that too because it's also like the ground level, and it's not all going to be like outer space stuff. So like they're going to be able to combine a little bit of both, and I'm sure they'll add a lot more characters
And more Battle Beast, that cat guy who just beat the shit out of everybody. Where did he come from?
Huh? That's a good universe they're building, though.
Yeah.
Or obviously is already built in the comics, but for the show, just like learning a lot of these characters is pretty sweet. What are you excited for in season 2?
More Viltrumites.
Yeah.
And more Battle Beast.
Now, we haven't learned of any like kryptonite for these Viltrumites.
Well, maybe that's it. I mean, maybe there's something that they can find. I mean, and it has to be from Walton Goggins' character.
Cecil Stedman.
Cecil. It has to come from him.
Yeah.
Because remember, there's that light that they use that you can't see, and they're like, you would be surprised at how much we use this. Like how much, because it worked on it, and you got to figure it worked on Invincible. It worked on him.
Right.
You got to figure it works on other Viltrumites too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how they.
Yeah. Let us know what you guys thought of season 1 of Invincible at Dork Podcast on Twitter or dorkpodcast@gmail.com to email us. Anything else on this season, which was one of the best seasons of TV we've gotten so far this year?
That was great.
Pick of the bomb.
Pick of the bomb. Pick of the bomb.
Pick of the bomb. All right, Ryan, would you like to kick, receive, defer, or you may also defend the goal?
I will defer to you.
All right, I will receive, and I think I. Oh fuck! God damn it!
Will you?
You know what? This is really a goddamn disaster. So did I say this one last week? Did A&E is doing biographies, an 8-part biography? I might have fucking said this last week.
But wrestlers?
Yeah,
you did.
I did.
Yeah. And I said I wasn't going to watch the Benoit one. I'll watch them all, but I won't watch the
There
Benoit.
isn't a Benoit one, I don't think.
I think there is. In Dark Side of the Ring?
Oh,
That's
separate.
Vice. That's Vice.
So A&E is doing 8 parts, and they're 2 hours, and they're every Sunday. So it was Stone Cold Steve Austin, Roddy Piper, and then the one I just DVR'd is Macho Man Randy Savage. They are also going to do, in some order, Booker T, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Ultimate Warrior, Mick Foley, which I know you'll want to watch that one.
Mm-hmm.
And that might be the group. I was thinking we could even do an episode at some point of just like our favorite wrestling moments. Because there was a time where there was nothing better than wrestling.
Yeah, I'm in high school, I would say the late 90s, early 2000s. What do they call it? Not the
Attitude Era.
The Attitude Era.
Yeah, the Attitude Era was the
Man. That was must watch. If you're a teenager, like that was a must watch. And then you would parlay it right into Telemundo Worcester Boston to watch ECW on like Saturday nights.
You can watch that. Yeah,
awesome.
I just remember flipping back and forth between Nitro and Raw was the great. Like last channel button was the greatest thing in the world for like 3 years in a row.
Yeah, because one would go to commercial and you just bop over to the other one and see what's going on, and right back.
Oh my god, it was the best.
Remember, my dad worked for the WWF.
I know.
At the time. He did interactive software for them, and we would get, because he did interactive software and he made what was called the Encyc Rawpedia, which was like a CD-ROM thing of like the Raw of the year. Fantastic. He would get, so Monday Night Raw would happen on Wednesday. He would get the tape, like the master tape and he would just like, when he was done with it, he would give it to us. We had every pay-per-view for like 4 years.
That was awesome. And that was the highlight of it. So we could do, because these documentaries are decent so far. Like they're not, like I feel like there's probably a little bit more like dirt to unpack, but they're not doing that. But anyway, I like all that old shit. So that's pretty good. Oh, by the way, I think there's a Son of Sam type documentary coming out this week. So I haven't seen it yet. I think it's coming out on the 5th on Netflix. I'll watch that. Serial killer stuff. And Ryan, this is sort of shit news, but I started playing Days Gone.
Yeah.
And I was liking it. I played for, I don't even know, an hour and a half, somewhere like that. And then I assumed that it auto-saved. Then I also manually saved it. Then I went to play it today, and I was like, it picked up like way further back than I was. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to play.
So I wonder if you go into like load, if it does the auto. So did it go into the autosave first? Because if you load I'm
Yeah, I
trying to
just
think if it's like the last.
continue, and then I thought I went to the load game, and I'm like, I beat this part and like 2 other parts. So I'm like,
you gotta get to the part where you hit like the actual swarms, where there's like thousands of zombies,
oh, okay, cool. All right, yeah, I'm
and
definitely.
then you're like, oh shit, and you can't get back to your bike. It's like on the other side of the thing, and you're like, oh, you have to. I found myself like
pretty cool.
strategically parking the motorcycle like around, so I
Oh,
knew where it was.
yeah, no, I like the concept. Obviously, I like the game, but
Yeah, it's basically your Daryl.
yeah, I
Essentially.
was crossbow killing some guys, so that
Yeah.
was good. All right, what do you got?
So I have, if for you music fans out there and you fans of documentaries and music, which I am, if you're like me and you grew up listening to Irish music, which I did, there is a Hulu documentary. It came out last year. It's produced by Johnny Depp. It's called Crock of Gold, and it's a documentary about Shane MacGowan, the lead singer of the Pogues. And this guy, zero idea how he's still alive. Like it's incredible.
Just
This
like
guy's story, and he's
hard
just
life. Yeah.
hard fucking living, man. He's like 65 years old, and they interview his dad, and he looks older than his dad.
Oh my god,
It's bad. Like it's really bad. But if you guys like, I mean, I grew up listening to that music. If you guys like the Pogues and Irish music and all that stuff, check out Crock of Gold on Hulu.
Next week, Ryan, do you want to do Mortal Kombat?
Let's do like a grab bag. Let's do like a mini de jours. Let's do like a little. What can we call that? Like an appetizer plate instead of doing like a. You know what I mean? A sampler, dork sampler.
Oh, so we could just call it movies.
No, what I'm saying is like we do Mortal Kombat.
All right.
We'll do a show. We'll
Sure.
do, you know what I mean? So we'll just like little mini du jours, like a poo-poo platter.
Yeah, Joshua. Yeah, he said that. A poo-poo platter. For a poo-poo for 2.
A poo-poo for 2.
We'll do a poo-poo for 2.
We'll do a little bit of everything next week. We'll talk about Mortal Kombat for 20 minutes and we'll talk about something else.
I always think of these podcasts based on what I'm going to title them.
Poo-poo for 2 is is pretty good.
It is, but will people click on that? Because the diehards are going to click on everything. The diehards, we love you guys. You're gonna click on all of it. You're gonna listen to all of it, and thank you so much for that. But you gotta, how do you attract others? I don't. Will they see Mortal Kombat and say, "Yeah, I'll listen to that," or do they see?
What if we call it a smorgasdork?
No, I don't want to call it that.
That's pretty good.
Do you want to do an episode in
all you can eat dork buffet?
You want me? That's kind of long to call it that. The title is All You Can Eat Dork Buffet.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, look, I'm the idea man. You're the numbers guy.
Do you want to do Army of the Dead in 3 weeks?
Yes.
All right. Then we're gonna do Mayor of Easttown.
Mm-hmm.
And do you want to do The Conjuring? The Devil Made Me Do It.
We're gonna have to, right? I think have we done Conjuring movies in the past?
I don't know. Give that a bing.
Yeah.
So I know we
have to do the Sam Squamp show.
The who?
The Sasquatch show.
Oh, you want to do Sasquatch?
So let's do Mortal Kombat, Sasquatch, and something else.
Did you watch Sasquatch?
I will. It's 3 episodes, right? I can do it by next week.
Oh yeah, you definitely can.
Yeah, I got that.
All right, so maybe we'll do that actually, and maybe I'll probably still title it Mortal Kombat, but we can talk about
not Smorgasdork.
I don't think I'm going to write Smorgasdork on the thing.
I think Smorgasdork or Pooper for 2.
Poo-poo for 2?
Cubed poo-poo for 2, as Joshua Clark says.
Fucking A.
Poo for cube.
I'm so worried about the
clicks. I get it. You got a business to run here, you know?
It's something simple and you just boom, you click on that. If it gets too wordy, it's just kind of like people don't know what it is, but yeah, because I was gonna say Mortal Kombat, Without Remorse, The Mitchells versus the Machines, Stowaway, Tenet,
Sam Squamch,
Sasquatch, Smash. I wrote down a list of ideas for upcoming episodes. I wrote down. Do you want to hear what the list is?
Yeah,
Sasquatch, The Walking
Sasquatch.
I wrote serial killers, where we just discuss all the serial killers.
All right. Oh, so by the way, there's a Eric Powell who does the Goon comic.
Yeah.
just came out with a graphic novel. It's for pre-order now, but it's called Did You Hear What Eddie Gein Did?
Ooh, that's probably nuts.
And it's like him,
Hear what he did.
Ed
Yeah.
Gein.
I heard what he did. Yeah, it's bad.
Oh, I heard too, but it's like it's a graphic novel about that whole thing. So, but told by like members of his family and like people in the town.
So I'm a little worried now that the beginning of this episode didn't record properly.
If they came in lasagna, all they missed was that I had a case of the Mondays, and then you asked me if I had lasagna.
I know, but that set up the joke perfectly. In fact, the lasagna bit is only a winner.
The lasagna bit doesn't work if you don't say he doesn't like Mondays.
So if you made it this far and the beginning sounded I'm not going to go back and do anything to it.
It doesn't
The beginning
matter.
sounded shitty. Just know that Davey started by saying he's got a case of the Mondays, which I smartly followed up with a lasagna gag.
Yeah.
And then we said Nermal's the worst, which we both could agree on.
Nermal is the worst. And I currently own who's the Jim Davis's house. I currently have Jim Davis's house and all of his furniture.
All Garfield.
Oh God.
Pretty sweet, huh? It's such a party house.
I know that. I'm not stupid. I'm smarter than you.
All right, you can, of course, subscribe and rate and review the podcast on Apple Podcasts, just about everywhere else you get your podcasts. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Dork Podcast. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can watch these bad boys on Monday nights, youtube.com/Dork Podcast. You can also email us your should I have bought this entries to dorkpodcast@gmail.com. Follow Davey on Twitch, twitch.tv/RVonD. And there's also a Facebook group, the hashtag Dork Shared Universe.
You almost said smorgasbord.
It's a smorgasbord. It's a poop.
You almost said it.
It's a poo-poo for two over there on Facebook. Mac and Goo, Change My Mind podcast, TLDR, the Pop Culture Pile Driver podcast, Shime, Dr. Joe, Davey, all on Twitch. So, Ryan, that'll do it for us. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And what do they say about wombats?
They poop in squares and cubes. Couldn't find the button. Just go with the ham horn.
I got nothing. I was looking for a certain thing. We'll play off of this, folks.
He has a drink or two each night, but it doesn't affect his job.